me, I have Dr. Ravi Prashar from Bloom Energy. How are you doing today?
Good, I'm doing great.
That's great. That's great. Can you talk a little bit about your role in Bloom?
Yeah, so I am the Chief Technology Officer for Bloom, so responsible for all new product management, roadmap, next generation technology, uh, and also making sure that we explain the technology correctly to the customer. So I work very closely with the business team. That's in a nutshell, is my role at Bloom.
Okay, awesome. And like you mentioned, new generation technology is one of them, so I'm sure innovation is a huge part of that. We've got clean tech, we've got fuel cells. Can you give your perspective around those technologies?
Right. So, fuel cell is different than a battery. In a fuel cell, basically, it's continuously produces electricity, whereas in a battery, you put electricity, it stores it, and you can get electricity back at a later time. In this case, we are continuously producing electricity. And in terms of, I would say in energy transition is such a big thing that all the various technologies will play a role, and there will be a combination of technologies providing, the services, clean energy services to the customer. So, for us in particular, one of the things that we are doing in fuel cell is, I briefly touched upon it, is that we can do carbon capture, which is you basically capture the CO2 and store it, which makes, even if you use natural gas, it makes it completely carbon free. That's one of the next big things that we are working on.
Right, right. And I know you just touched upon this a little bit, but can you dig a little deeper into like what your main goals, targets are when it comes to fuel cells?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the goals is basically, serving the customer needs and be on a path to decarbonization, right? And then in terms of the mission of the company is basically clean and affordable power for all. So keep on continuously reduce the cost, and so that more and more people can afford it. So those always remain the fundamental goals of the company. And in the near term, as I said, we are looking into carbon capture, heat capture based on our platform.
And how do you plan to, I guess, spread this across the country and eventually the world?
First of all, we are already expanding beyond the United States. We have a big customer base in South Korea. We are expanding quite a bit in Europe. We're also seeing significant expansion in other parts of Asia, right? So that's one. And second, in the United States also, we're expanding quite a bit in the rest of the country. When the company started, most of the installations were on the two coasts, West Coast and East Coast, but now we are also have started projects in the middle of the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And before you go, one last question. How does it feel to be a speaker here at ASQ today?
Yeah, it's a great event. Basically, as I mentioned earlier, that this is a very timely event because as we scale clean tech, understanding quality is going to become very, very critical, and quite frankly, learning from the semiconductor industry, being in the heart of Silicon Valley, is a very unique opportunity, and I think the conference organizers, they brought two communities together. So I just think that this is going to continue happening from now on.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.